Close your eyes and hear this truth. You are not waiting on your desire is waiting on you to rise, to elevate, to vibrate at the frequency of what is already yours. The world around you is not fixed. It bends, it molds, it reshapes according to your vibration. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the cause. What you radiate, you attract. If you hold low thoughts, you will see a low world, but when you rise, internally rise, you will see mountains move. Vibration is simply your state of being. You do not manifest through effort, you manifest through alignment. The higher you vibrate, the faster creation flows through you. Joy is a magnet. Gratitude is a portal. Love is a key. These are not emotions, these are frequencies. And the universe responds to frequency, not words. So, imagine, not lightly but boldly, with depth, with emotion, with certainty, see yourself already there, already living what you once longed for. Not in the future, now. Accept it as already done, and your world must obey. The moment you feel it real, the unseen goes to work. The invisible becomes visible. But you must not waver, persist in the assumption, hold the feeling even when appearances lie, especially when they lie. Your job is not to chase or strive. Your job is to become. Become the version of you that already has it. The shift is internal, and when you vibrate higher, manifestation does not take time, it takes acceptance. So today I urge you, stop lowering yourself to match what is fading. Rise to meet what is calling. Vibrate higher, and you will manifest faster, because the moment you become it, it must come to you. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. This is the most misunderstood truth in all of creation. The world around you is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting back the state you consistently dwell in. People believe they must work harder, push more, chase endlessly after what they desire, yet they do not realize that the outer world is secondary. It is the echo. The origin lies within. The secret is not in the doing, but in the being. Your inner state, what you feel, assume, and believe to be true about yourself and life, broadcasts a silent frequency. This frequency is your vibration. It is not heard by the ears, but it is registered by reality. The moment you shift your state, the world must shift in response. But because the world seems so solid, so separate, we tend to ignore the invisible cause and blame the visible effect. Desire alone changes nothing. Wanting something, no matter how deeply, does not draw it to you. What draws it to you is becoming the version of yourself who already has it. You must embody the outcome. That is, you must feel the reality of the desire fulfilled so deeply that your consciousness cannot distinguish between what is imagined and what is perceived. When you persist in an inner state of lack, you do not move toward your goal, you only deepen the distance. If you feel unworthy, if you feel desperate, if you feel incomplete, those feelings form the vibration you emit, and life, being completely impersonal, reflects it back to you in kind. You meet experiences, people, and events that affirm what you are already being inside. But when you deliberately shift inward, something extraordinary happens. When you begin to feel worthy, blessed, and whole, not because the world gave it to you, but because you decided it, you change your entire vibration. And life, like a loyal servant, must obey. This is why it is said that to him who has, more shall be given, because the one who feels abundance attracts abundance. The one who feels love receives love, not because they seek it, but because they have become it. The inner state is not dependent on conditions. It is the cause of them. You must become quiet enough to recognize what you are vibrating. If you are anxious, pause. If you are worried, observe. If you are bitter, release. And then choose again. Choose deliberately to dwell in peace, in faith, in love. The moment you do, you've already moved realities. The world you see may not change instantly, but the blueprint has been altered. Creation is finished. All possibilities exist now. The only thing that separates one outcome from another is your alignment with it. And alignment is nothing but sustained vibration. The more consistently you dwell in the inner state of your desire fulfilled, the more quickly it materializes around you. It is not magic, but law. And the law is always working, whether you believe it or not. Do not be fooled by appearances. The world will test your commitment. It will whisper doubt. But stay faithful to your state. Choose to remain in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, no matter what the senses show, because the senses only echo the past. The future is formed in consciousness. Your inner world is the soil. What you water with emotion grows. So stop trying to force the outer world to bend. That is not your task. Your only task is to assume the feeling of your desire as already yours, to vibrate in harmony with it, and to watch calmly, faithfully, as life reshapes to match your new frequency. You are not chasing the dream is chasing you. Once you become the version of you who already lives it. Emotions are not random. They are not meaningless reactions. Emotions are energy, pure and powerful, flowing through the body like a signal, like a vibration sent out into the field of creation. They are not simply feelings, they are frequencies. They move, they radiate. They reach out and draw back to you that which matches their essence. This is why emotion is not something to suppress or escape. It is something to understand, to guide, and to use with purpose. Every emotion you experience sends a message to the unseen. When you feel low, when you dwell in fear, anger, shame, or doubt, you are not just having a bad day. You are aligning with a lower frequency reality, one that will reflect back to you the very same feeling you are emitting. The outer world mirrors the inner climate. It does not respond to words or desperate affirmations spoken in contradiction to your feelings. It responds to the truth of your emotional state. But what happens when you begin to rise? When you start to cultivate elevated emotions, not as a reaction to circumstances, but as a choice, a practice, everything changes. Gratitude, love, peace, joy, these are not simply pleasant feelings. They are the gateways to higher realities. The moment you feel gratitude, you are telling the universe, it is done. I have received. You are no longer begging, no longer waiting. You have become the version of you who lives in the fulfillment of the desire. Love is the purest frequency. Not romantic love, but unconditional, inner, radiant love. Love for life, for being, for self. This emotion raises your vibration faster than logic ever could. It lifts you beyond resistance, beyond fear. And in that high vibration, the reality you once dreamed of begins to feel natural, even inevitable. That's the key. It must feel natural. The emotion you hold makes it so. Peace, too, is a frequency often overlooked. Peace is powerful. It is not passive. Peace says, I no longer need to struggle. I trust the unfolding. And in that trust there is release. And in that release, manifestation flows faster, clearer, with less effort. Because creation does not respond to force. It responds to surrender, to faith, to emotional alignment. You do not manifest by thinking harder. You manifest by feeling deeper. Thought is the blueprint. Emotion is the builder. The more you feel in harmony with your desired reality, the more swiftly it is constructed in your world. You must not wait for the thing to happen to feel good. You must feel good to allow the thing to happen. Imagine the person you wish to become. How do they feel? What emotions fill their day? Start there. Begin to generate those emotions now, even before anything has changed. Because in truth, the inner change is the cause. The outer result is the effect. Emotion moves reality. Emotion is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. When you align emotionally with what you desire, you shorten the distance between you and the outcome. Time is no longer the barrier, vibration is. And when your emotional vibration matches your imagined future, time collapses. The future becomes now. Let this be your practice, not to force manifestations, but to feel your way into them, to choose the highest emotions, even when nothing has changed, to live from the inside out, not the outside in. Because when you choose gratitude in the absence of reason, you become magnetic. When you choose joy before the breakthrough, you bring the breakthrough closer. When you choose love before the healing, you activate healing. You are not powerless. You're not stuck. You are a creative force, shaping your life with every feeling you sustain. So feel wisely, feel richly. Let emotion be your tool, your guide, your magic. Emotions are energy in motion, and you, by feeling on purpose, can move your world. Imagination is not fantasy. It is not mere daydreaming or mental escape. Imagination is the original act of creation. Everything that exists in your life right now began first in the unseen world of thought, shaped by the silent power of imagination. Before anything becomes form, it must first be accepted in consciousness. What you vividly imagine and emotionally accept as true plants the seed of your future experience. The world you see is nothing more than the harvest of what you once imagined and believed. Many believe the world is shaped by action, by effort, by external striving, but those are effects, not causes. The true cause lies deeper. All creation begins in the invisible. The mind is the womb, the inner world the workshop. It is not what you do for hours that shapes your destiny. It is what you dwell upon in the secret place of your mind. Imagination is not idle. It is active, it is spiritual. It is the divine gift that allows you to rise above circumstance and see the world not as it is, but as it could be. And in that seeing, you make it so. When you imagine something clearly, in detail, and add to it the feeling of reality, the sensation that it is already yours, you trigger a shift in vibration. And when your vibration changes, the world responds. You do not have to wait for permission. You do not need proof. The outer world always lags behind the inner vision. So many delay their transformation because they are waiting for evidence. But the evidence comes after the seed is sown. And the seed is your imagined scene. It is your vision, felt as real, accepted without doubt. Whatever you persist in imagining with faith becomes law in your world. This is why idle worry is dangerous. When you imagine things going wrong, when you rehearse fears and worst-case scenarios, you are planting seeds to weed. Only weeds, not flowers. Your imagination does not care whether you use it to build or to destroy. It simply obeys. It receives the command through feeling, not word. The secret, then, is not just to imagine, but to imagine with emotion. You must feel your scene as though it is happening now. You must enter it so completely in your inner world that the outer world becomes irrelevant. The senses may still reflect the old story, but you remain loyal to the vision, knowing it is only a matter of time before the world reshapes itself to match your inner assumption. Imagination is more than visualization, it is full embodiment. It is hearing the sounds, seeing the colors, feeling the textures of your desired reality. It is holding the end in mind and living from it mentally rather than towards it physically. You assume it is done. You let go of the need to figure out how. And in that surrender, creation begins to move. Think of imagination as a spiritual blueprint. You are always building something. The question is, are you building consciously or unconsciously? Are you imagining based on past disappointments or based on new intention? The future does not come from what you have known. It comes from what you see and feel in the stillness of your own mind. Do not underestimate this power. The world honors action, but action follows vision. When you imagine rightly, inspired action arises effortlessly. You are led, you are guided. The right people, the right moments, the right doors begin to appear. Not because you forced them, but because your inner world summoned them. Creation is not something you wait for. It is something you initiate. Imagination is the seed, feeling is the water, faith is the light, and time is the soil that brings it all together. So imagine, and imagine boldly. Refuse to return to the past. Let your mind dwell only on what is lovely, noble, and true. What you vividly imagine and emotionally accept as real, without doubt, without resistance, must come to pass. It is law. It is your gift. Use it well. The truth of who you are has never changed. It cannot be tarnished, diminished, or lost, only forgotten. Beneath the noise of the world, beneath fear, doubt, and limitation, there is a core within you that is pure light, pure power, pure knowing. And the closer you come to that truth, the faster your vibration rises. High vibration is not something you earn or chase. It is what you return to. It is your natural state, your original frequency before you were taught otherwise. From the moment you arrived in this world, the world began to shape you. You were told what was possible, what was practical, what was safe. You were conditioned to believe in lack, in struggle, in separation from your desires. You were trained to slow your energy, to blend into a world that forgot its own divinity. But deep within, something never forgot. Something always remembered. That spark is your true self, and it is always calling you home. High vibration is the signal of that remembrance. It's what you feel when you are in alignment, when you're no longer resisting the truth of your being. It's the quiet joy that arises when you follow your intuition. It's the peace you feel when you release control. It's the surge of inspiration, of love, of presence. These are not passing emotions. They are echoes of your essence. They are reminders that you are more than flesh, more than history, more than circumstances. The lower vibrations, fear, anger, shame, guilt, are not your enemies. But they are not your home either. They are signals, indicators that you are living in a version of yourself that was handed to you, not chosen by you. They are teachers, showing you where you are out of alignment. The pain is not punishment, it is feedback, and the faster you learn to observe it, honor it, and release it, the faster you rise. You do not have to force high vibration. You only have to stop clinging to what keeps you low. You are not meant to carry the burdens of your past. You are not meant to wear masks to please the world. You are not meant to doubt your power, your worth, your beauty. These are illusions, taught, reinforced, and repeated until they seemed real. But the truth never left you. It simply waits for your return. The more you align with your authentic self, the one who feels deeply, who speaks truthfully, who dreams without apology, the faster your vibration becomes. And with that speed comes clarity. You begin to see life differently. Opportunities appear. Relationships shift. Circumstances respond. You don't have to chase outcomes. They begin to move toward you, drawn by the resonance of your truth. To live at a high vibration is to live lightly, not because life is always easy, but because you no longer resist it. You meet each moment with presence, not panic. You trust the unfolding, not because you know the details, but because you know who you are. You've stopped identifying with the noise, and you've remembered the stillness beneath it. The fastest way to raise your vibration is to return to what is real. Gratitude, compassion, joy, trust, not because these make you better, but because they reveal who you've always been. You are not trying to become something new. You are peeling away what is false. You are unlearning the illusion and reclaiming the truth. So when the world feels heavy, pause, go within, feel the breath, remember who you are. High vibration is not a destination. It is the frequency of your being. When you stop pretending to be anything less, you are light, you are love, you are limitless. Let everything else fall away. Faith is not a matter of hoping that something might happen. It is the inner certainty that it already has. It is the quiet conviction that defies logic, the stillness that remains even when the senses scream otherwise. Faith is not passive. It is not waiting. It is an active state of inner knowing, a deliberate assumption of the desired outcome as already real, felt deeply and without doubt. It is the invisible substance from which all visible things are shaped. When you feel the wish fulfilled, you are not asking life to bring you something. You are affirming that it already belongs to you. And that feeling is the key. It is not enough to repeat words, to visualize an outcome, or to recite affirmations like a ritual. These are only shells, unless they are filled with emotion. It is the feeling that moves mountains. It is the inner atmosphere that creates the outer change. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you believe. And belief is not just thought, it is embodied, emotional truth. To believe with faith means to walk through your day as if the thing were already done. You are no longer looking for signs, you are becoming the sign. You are no longer asking if it's working, you are living from the end, knowing it has already worked. Most people delay their manifestation because they keep waiting for the external world to confirm the internal desire. They look to the mirror and ask it to smile first. But the mirror can only reflect. The moment you believe from within, truly believe without needing proof, the outer must conform. The law cannot be broken. The outer world is not cause, it is effect. It follows your conviction like a shadow. Faith requires that you detach from the how and the when. These are the domains of the intellect, not the imagination. The mind wants a timeline, the soul knows better. It moves in trust. It rests in the unseen. When you live in faith, you are no longer negotiating with reality. You are not hoping. You are dwelling in the feeling of it already being true. And that is enough. To feel the wish fulfilled is to touch the invisible realm and claim it as your own. You close your eyes and see clearly. You feel deeply, fully, without resistance. You allow yourself to be taken over by the mood of the outcome. You rehearse not the problem, but the solution. Not the lack, but the abundance. You become the one who already has it, already lives it, already knows it to be theirs. This is not fantasy. It is creation. You are not escaping reality, you are forming it. Faith is the spiritual substance that calls things unseen into form. You don't need to convince others or even yourself in words. The feeling does the work. It anchors the unseen. The moment you feel the wish fulfilled, manifestation begins. Not when it arrives, not when it shows up on your doorstep, but in the moment you dwell in it as real. It may take time to appear, but that is no concern of yours. The seed takes time to sprout, but its emergence is certain. Your only job is to remain faithful to the feeling. Stay loyal to the unseen. Do not be shaken by appearances. Do not argue with delay. These are tests of persistence, not evidence of failure. Keep returning to the state of the wish fulfilled. Keep breathing life into your vision with feeling. What you feel consistently becomes fact. That is the quiet power of faith. It does not ask, it declares. It does not hope, it assumes. And in that assumption, life rearranges itself to match your inner truth. Persistence is the key that unlocks the door between the unseen and the seen. It is not enough to assume once, to imagine once, to feel once. The creative power of the inner world is activated by repetition, by sustained belief, unwavering focus, and the refusal to be swayed by appearances. What you assume with consistency becomes the law of your world, for consciousness is the only reality, and assumption is its blueprint. Every assumption, when felt as true, begins to clothe itself in form. But between the assumption and its full manifestation, there is often a gap. And in this gap lies the test, the temptation to doubt, to abandon the vision, to return to the evidence of the senses. Yet it is in that very moment that persistence must rise. To persist in the assumption is to remain loyal to the unseen truth, regardless of what the outer world reflects back to you. The world is a mirror, not a master. It does not dictate your reality, it reflects it. What you assume to be true inwardly, the world will echo. But it cannot do so instantly in all cases, for time is the cushion that allows the unseen to become seen. Do not be discouraged by the lag. Do not measure your success by how quickly things appear. Measure it by how unwaveringly you can remain faithful to your inner state. Persistence is not struggle. It is not forcing. It is not efforting in fear or desperation. It is calm, focused dwelling in the end. It is the quiet power of the one who knows, who rests in the inner conviction that what is imagined and accepted must come to pass. Even if the outer seems unchanged, you remain unchanged in your assumption. You do not explain. You do not seek reassurance. You simply continue to feel the wish fulfilled. When you persist in your assumption, you are training the subconscious mind. And the subconscious is the servant that never sleeps. It does not argue. It accepts what is impressed upon it with feeling and repetition. And once impressed, it sets the wheels in motion through people, events, and circumstances to bring your assumption into form. But this process cannot complete itself if you constantly undo the work with doubt or contradiction. To assume something is not to wish for it, but to live from it. You think from the end, not of the end. You move through life as though it were already so. You react as the person who already has, already is, already lives in the desired state. This is persistence, not in thought alone, but in feeling, in identity, in inner knowing. You become it before it becomes visible. Do not be fooled by appearances that contradict your assumption. The world often rearranges itself through what looks like chaos or opposition. But if you persist, what seemed like delay or denial will reveal itself as part of the unfolding. The key is not to react to what is, but to remain faithful to what you've chosen within. You must persist, even when you feel nothing is happening, even when the world seems to shout the opposite, even when doubt knocks and fear whispers. You return again and again to your chosen state. You rehearse it. You dwell in it. You affirm it. Not because you need to convince the world, but because you are commanding it. This is the law. What you assume consistently and unwaveringly must become your experience, not because you are lucky, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You are no longer living from circumstance, you are living from consciousness. And consciousness shapes reality. So persist, not with tension, but with faith. not with impatience, but with knowing. What you persist in assuming, you inevitably become. When you choose to vibrate higher, you do more than just feel good. You align with the deepest truth of who you are. You no longer chase reality, you shape it. Your imagination becomes your workshop, your emotions become your compass, and your unwavering faith becomes the bridge between the invisible and the visible. The outer world becomes a reflection, no longer a dictator, and you become the master of your own experience. You do not manifest by effort, but by assumption. You do not wait for proof. You live as though it is already done. Every thought, every feeling, every act of inner persistence is a seed planted in the unseen. And when watered with belief, with feeling, with patience, it must grow. Remember, you do not attract what you want, but what you are being. So become it now, feel it now, assume it now. Let the vibration of your desired reality flow through your inner world and trust that the outer must follow. This is not hope, it is law. Thank you for listening. May you go forward boldly, vibrating higher, manifesting faster, and living as the creator you were always meant to be.